Hello Reds, welcome along to All for United.
Hello and welcome back to All for United, arguably the best Manchester United channel on YouTube. Thank you for tuning in and joining myself and this brilliant panel of guests to discuss some big developments in Man United transfer news. I didn't think we'd get them this early in the season, but the Athletic are giving us some good news, and I think they're probably the most reliable British media outlet at the minute, aren't they? So we're going to discuss them at the minute. So we'll start with Jadon Sancho, the big. It's been a big transfer story for the last couple of years now, hasn't it? Looking like we might possibly be able to get it done. So I'll come to you first, Alexi. What are you thinking on the rumours?
My problem with it is there's no reason why we shouldn't go out there and get him. That obviously last year we had this exact same situation where it was obvious we should be getting him, but we didn't go for it. Now, obviously, there was the fan forum today. And if the Glazers want to make a statement, I guess they will go and sign Sancho. But obviously, we can't forget, regardless of whether they sign Sancho or not, they should not be at this club. This shouldn't be a kind of thing where we sign Sancho and it all goes away. But I think, obviously, John Murtough's come in. Hopefully, that makes things better. But ultimately, Woodward is still there at the club, controlling things for this summer, and that's a problem. And our track record on transfers in the last decade or so has been really appalling. But I hope I'm wrong, and I hope he comes. I mean, obviously, he's friends with Rashford. He used to live in Manchester. It's clear he wants to come. We've needed a right winger since 2009 when Ronaldo left. And it would fill a massive hole in the team that's been needed for ages. And obviously, it's always nice getting a player who used to play for City as well, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that'll make it a little bit even better, won't it, to get an ex-City player, especially if he does well for us. I'll come to you next, Wesley. Wes or Wesley? Sorry, I didn't even ask.
Either, mate. Either's fine.
Well, I'll come to you next then, Wes. How excited are you at the prospects of Sancho finally arriving? Because, it's looking more and more likely now.
Yeah, well, I think that it's a signing that, the team desperately needs. It's a marquee signing. It's a typical Manchester United signing with the big name. He's done very well in the Bundesliga this season. Did very well the season before as well. But like we said in the pre-chat, we'll believe it when we see it. It's kind of, unless he's at Carrington holding a shirt up outside the main entrance, it's difficult to kind of get too excited, because the club have let us down before. This is a transfer that should have happened last season, but obviously, in recent. In the coming hours, there's been a few more reports and a few more developments surrounding Jadon Sancho. Reports indicating that we're not too far apart in valuation. But again, I'd like to touch on what Alexi said as well, is that, this is not a transfer that's going to make everything go away that revolves around the Glazer family. It's going to ultimately improve our team. It's going to, if he does sign it, it's going to be a big sign and a big statement to the rest of the Premier League and the rest of Europe. But again, with the whole Glazer out movement is something that we're going to need to continue because everything out of the fans forum wasn't all rosy. Refusal to pay off the debt and didn't see any problems with the dividends that they were taking out of the club. So, it's going to be great for the team, great for fans, but the owners still need to be, made accountable for there still needs to be consequences from their ownership. They've like I said, this is something that should have been done last season and it wasn't. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We'll watch we'll have a look at the the developments in the next few days or so, and we'll see where we are. And hopefully, we can get some sort of agreement in place with Borussia Dortmund prior to the Euros starting. So excited, yes, but I'm not going to get too ahead of myself at this stage.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough, isn't it? But as United, we like to drag things out, don't we? I'll come to you next, Abdul. I'll make the most of your tactical genius, shall we call it. So I wanted to ask you, you might have answered this before, but obviously I've not been on a show with you where you have. I wanted to ask you sort of what it is exactly that Jadon Sancho offers this team, because we've got some very good wingers, but I think Sancho offers a different level, doesn't he? So what does he come in and achieve for United?
That's for me, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, sorry. Basically, he offers a different type of winger in the archetype of the players. So basically, what we have right now with Greenwood, Rashford, even Martial, are three players who are not, well, Greenwood is an exception. Rashford and Martial, they're not really wingers. They're inverted forwards. So they're neither a striker, neither a winger. They like to receive the ball to their feet. They want to dribble. They want to pass through defenders and take a shot. So they're kind of like, I want to shoot first mentality. But if you've watched Jadon Sancho in the Bundesliga, he's a creator type. He's not a goal scorer type. He does score goals, but his mindset, his archetype, what he provides, what he's very good at, is creating for others, right? And we lack that. We lack that from the wide areas so much. So go back and remember the times where you felt very frustrated with Rashford because he took on too many defenders and he wanted to shoot first, or he shot from places where it's very suboptimal, like he won't even get it on target. If you go back in your memory lane and go back to all the matches where Rashford frustrated you, it's because that is his type. That is what Rashford is. He wants to dribble through defenders and he wants to shoot on goal. But when you watch Jadon Sancho, it's the complete opposite. He wants to, yes, get into the right places, but provide for others. What pass can I make that would create the best chance for another person to score on goal, basically? And we don't have that now, especially with the type of fullback you have behind you, which is Aaron Wan-Bissaka for Jadon Sancho, if he only plays on the right for us, because he can't play on the left. You won't require Aaron Wan-Bissaka to be very offensive. You won't require him, other than just keeping width. He won't have to do much. So that takes the burden off of Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and you have an elite creator for the likes of Cavani, for the likes of Rashford, Martial, Greenwood. So yeah, when we miss that type, we miss it badly. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that's fair enough, isn't it? We've got 3 goal scorers up front, haven't we? And no real creators.
Yeah.
So I'll come to you, Ben. Obviously, I'll ask you a similar question to what I asked the other guys. Sort of, do you finally see this transfer saga ending? Because it just seems like it was never going to get across the line. But we've got some good news now.
I hope so, mate. I hope so. But I'm with the other lads. I believe it when I see it, because I've been burnt so much on transfer talk. I refuse to believe rumours anymore. Until someone's signed, sealed, delivered, holding up the shirt next to Ollie, I don't get ahead of myself with transfer talk anymore. It's been like this for a good few years now, all the way back to the old Wesley Sneijder business, from way back when, when everyone's been told, oh, he's coming, and I believed it all and just got burnt, So I refuse to believe anything, mate, until they're all signed, sealed, delivered. You know what we're like. We're linked with about 1,000 billion players. Every player that's on this God's green earth will be linked to. I hope that it is a massive load of truth behind it, and I hope we can get some sort of an agreement in place, at least with Dortmund, before the Euros start. Because if he has a great Euros and that price tag goes up and up and up, we're still negotiating, haggling with Dortmund. They've got every right to push that price tag further up. So hopefully we get a deal sorted before the Euros by the end of this week, really, because I think the Euros start in 7 days or something from now. I'm not 100% sure. But we need to get it done quickly. Now, especially if we get it over the line and get his medical done at St George's Park or something, absolutely fantastic. If we get something like that and we can get our guys down there to St George's Park, to get him signed, sealed, delivered that way, I'm all for that as well. But I'm not so sure how much distraction Gareth Southgate wants on his in his England camp before the Euros. But we shall see, mate. We shall see. But I'm one of those, mate, now that I even say it on the women's channel. I am not one for great transfer talk because I don't believe our fit. Because we've burnt that many times. And how many times I've been sat here on different shows and whatever saying, all he needs is to be back with his first or second choice signings, not his third, fourth or fifth, which seems to be always the case. We back a manager one season, his second, third season, we'll just give him absolute dross signings. We're not dross signings. It's a bit much, I think, but we're definitely not giving him his first couple of options there, I think we need to strongly back him. Whether the owners do or not, I don't know. We shall see. I like the boys. Actions speak louder than words, and I'm patiently waiting. So we shall see, buddy. We shall see.
Yeah. I think a lot of fans share sort of pessimism towards that, don't they? Well, we'll round it off then. I'll come to you, Sal. Obviously, it's brilliant to have you on. I don't think I've been on a show with you before, so good to see you. Ben mentioned that we need to get this deal done before the Euros. Are you in agreement with him? Do you think this is a big factor of it, that we need to get it done before the Euros?
Yeah, 100%. I echo what Ben said. But the problem is our board just don't do things quickly. This is the problem I have. I just don't think they're capable of it. I think they've broken so many promises over the years. We've been here before a couple of years. For now, the last 3 years, it's been Sancho talk, hasn't it? It's just been Sancho talk. Every time it comes to this silly season, it's like, oh, let's keep the fans quiet. Let's start bidding for a few players there. Let's get them a bit excited. Let's buy some time. If they sign Sancho, great. Sancho's a fantastic player. Ask Haaland. Without Sancho, Haaland's goal record is nowhere near as good, but it's not all we need. And this is the thing. This is the problem. We need more. We need central midfield. We need CDMs. We need a centre back, and a striker. I just feel like we're going to spend the whole summer speaking about Sancho. We'll probably get Sancho over the line, and the Glazers will feel like that's their job done. When we need far more than just Jadon Sancho. As good as Sancho is, it's one of my favourite players. Has been one of the best performing players in Europe for the last few years. I feel like we do need more, and this talk is going to drag on. If they sign Sancho before the Euros, I'd be surprised. I'd be very surprised. I'd be shocked because it's not what they do. They take their time. So it'll be a great signing, but in my opinion, it's just the beginning. We need more, and Ole needs a fair chance, a fair crack at his signings of his choice, his first choice. And there's no more messing about now because the fans mean business. The Glazers movement is full on, and we need to carry that on and carry that energy so that the Glazers get a move on and start giving Ole what he needs.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think a lot
Guys, can I just jump in?
People will. Yeah, of course.
Obviously, I don't know how reliable this is. Stretty News. It's a United news channel news article, but this is really random. But I'm just reading the article now. Stretty News can exclusively reveal that one player Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is targeting is Tottenham Hotspur midfielder Harry Winks.
Oh, mate,
that's not filling me with optimism at all.
No. Trippier and Winks.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. It's like a 2018 Tottenham tribute act, isn't it?
Absolutely. We'll get Danny Rose in as well on a free. Why not? But just sticking with Sancho slightly, I wanted to bring up this comment from Ugly Bear because I thought it was a very good point. What happens to we have a lot of right wingers at United at the minute. All of them young. I don't think any of them are really near the first team other than Greenwood, really. So I'll come to you first, Alexi. What do you think happens with a lot of these players? Because we do have we're quite stacked in terms of youth prospects, but not quite first team quality.
Yeah, well, I think looking at it, you'd say that Ahmad could do with a loan. I think Ahmad he already looks like a really exciting player, but I think it was unfair that he was kind of thrown in the deep end. And obviously I know people say he should have come on in the Europa League final, but I kind of thought it's harsh to put that much pressure on someone who's not played many games. And see, a lot of people kind of have said this over the last few years, like, oh, if we sign this player, what does it mean for this player? But ultimately, the teams that win leagues in this country have always had really deep squad depth. I mean, I know it's an obvious example, but 99, we had Ollie, Sheringham, York and Cole, and we've not had a right winger for 10 years. So it doesn't worry me at all, in fact, the idea that we'd have Sancho and Greenwood on the right, or Sancho, Greenwood and James and Ahmad, because look how many players City have on the wings. I mean, you could literally have City's first team and City's second team challenging each other for a league. So I think we should welcome this depth, because we saw like when we played Leicester at home and other games this season where we made wholesale changes, that the depth isn't great. In some positions, like left back, for example, we're all right, or in goal, we've got great goalkeeper depth. But I don't think it's a bad thing if we suddenly go, oh God, we've got 5 right wingers or 3 right wingers, whatever. I think that's a really good thing. I think Chong, am I right in saying Chong, I think, won a title or something, which is really great. I imagine he will go out on loan again. But honestly, if we're going to win leagues and Champions Leagues, it's not about us building this ultimate starting 11. It's about us building the ultimate squad, because that's what Manchester City have shown. And that's what we've got to do, to be honest. And I fully welcome the idea of having 4, 5, 10 right wingers even, because ultimately there's going to be a lot of games next season and it'll be the same as this one. We'll need the depth. And while City can bring in Ferran Torres, maybe we'll be able to bring in Mason Greenwood, and it will freshen us up,
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good way of looking at it. I'll ask you a similar thing then, Wes. Do you think it's a good thing that we're going to have so many young and up and coming right wingers? And just from that, if Sancho does arrive, what do you want to see done with a few of them? Who do you want to see sent out on loan? Do you think any should be let go permanently?
Yeah, I think it's a good thing, because obviously we've seen this season that depth is it's detrimental in terms of deciding the outcome of a season. You only got to look at Man City and look at their squad. As Alexi said, they've got fantastic depth. They've got 3-4 players per position. But yeah, I mean, if we're going to be looking at the wingers, I think that the likes of Tahith Chong, the club have got a decision to make on him, whether he goes out on loan or whether the club move him on permanently. He's a player that, in the under-21s was absolutely fantastic, and, for the under-18s also, but the difference in quality and the difference in standard between playing at under-21 level and first-team football is absolutely astronomical. I think Chong, probably I would look to move on permanently and look at opening the space up then for obviously the likes of Elanga to come through as well. You've also got, Amad Diallo, who for me, he looks like he's been playing for Manchester United for years. When he's played, his balance, his low sense of gravity, his close control, everything about him just oozes with class. And I'm convinced that lad is going to be a top player for Manchester United. So I'd like to see him get some more minutes next season. But yeah, bringing Sancho in, healthy competition for the rest of the squad. It's not unhealthy to have multiple players in each position. We played 61 games this season, so it's going to be detrimental to have a big squad going into the next season, especially off the back of the Euros as well, where players might feel a little bit fatigued at the beginning. Marcus Rashford, who's obviously gone, who is carrying injuries, may need a little bit of additional rest following the Euros, depending on how he feels. But it's exciting. I'm all for having competition for places, quality and depth, but also Ollie has decisions to make on certain players and whether to move them on or not. So that's my view on it, and hopefully that with Sancho coming in, it's just going to have a positive influence on the squad.
Hopefully, I probably agree with a lot of what you're saying there. Just to go over this comment. Thank you for the comment, of course. But we have briefly responded to the Winks rumours, and that's all we'll say on it. We I think we all unanimously hate the idea of Harry Winks being anywhere near this team. I think that's fair to say. We don't want any Spurs rejects, unless you're talking about Kieran Trippier, we don't mind it. But
do you know what? Can I just say something, Ben? The likes, and this might, a lot of people might disagree with me here, but if you're signing someone like Harry Winks, you're just taking up a space for someone like James Garner.
Yeah.
James Garner's been absolutely fantastic for Nottingham Forest fans, and I've seen a lot of for Nottingham Forest. I've seen a lot of Nottingham Forest fans on social media in the last 6 months. They're absolutely raving about James Garner and how good he's been for them. So for the idea for the club to sign someone like Harry Winks, who will occupy a space that could be for James Garner, I think is a joke, and I hope we don't entertain it. I hope he stays at Spurs, and hopefully, like I said, James Garner, whether or not he goes on loan next season or not, I don't know. But that's a player. We've got a good player there, and I'd like to see the youngsters get a bit more of a shout next season as well.
Yeah, completely agree with you. I think, well, yeah, I don't really have anything to add. I hate the fact that Winks could possibly be in a United shirt next year. That's
not for me.
Disgusting. But I'll come to you, Abdul. We'll put it back onto our young right wingers for the time being. We do have a wealth of options for the future, but we won't know until the future whether they are actually of any use. So have you seen anything from these players that would suggest, obviously other than Ahmad, we've all seen him, but are there any of these players that stick in your mind that we need to desperately keep hold of, and we need to be really raising them and could be an asset to the first team?
I've seen a little bit of Pellistri. He's good, but he's not at the same level as Ahmad is. So, like, there's a concept that we talk about, like, how you refer sometimes to saying their floor is high, and then you don't know how much they can raise the ceiling. So the starting point where Pellistri and Ahmad are, Ahmad is a bit higher than Pellistri, but both of them can reach a very high ceiling, and you don't know where their limit would be really. Like, you never know, because with players, it's not a guarantee that someone will be a star. Something can happen in their career, and they just don't grow further. But on that basis, I would say that Ahmad is further into his development than Pellistri, but Pellistri is not bad; is good. So I would keep an eye on both of them and see how they progress. They might be starters in our team. And what Alexi and Wesley were saying, if we're ambitious in winning a league and a Champions League, doing the double like we've done before, or something similar, you have to have a squad. Back in the days, in the 90s, early 2000s, the challenge was only one team other than United. You're either trying to, overcome Arsenal, or you're trying to overcome Chelsea at the time. And the squads didn't have to be that deep. We used to play the 4-4-2 like a lot of other teams, and you needed 4 strikers, just a backup to each one of your actual starting striker. And the depth has always been in the midfield. Like, how strong is your squad was always in the midfield. But right now, because of all the money that's being pumped into other teams, you now have 4 or 5 teams that are challenging. You have City, you have Liverpool, you have hopefully us, you have like Tottenham or less, whoever. Like, more than one team. That's the point. So you need to have a full squad. Like, even having I don't know, having something like a striker, not having a good backup to a striker can affect you in a season. Not having a good backup to just one CDM can actually be detrimental in your entire season. So it is definitely how big, quality, deep your squad is, that you can't win it anymore just on a starting 11, especially if you're going in multiple competitions as well. I mean, if you're only focused on the league, you can get away with it, just like Liverpool did last year. But if you're focusing on multiple competitions, which Oli has been doing, you just can't. You will break in somewhere, and that could affect other competitions. But yeah. And by the way, with the links that we have with Winks, um, Winks is probably on some list for United, and someone knew about it, and they just linked him to United again. Remember Harry Wilson when we were linked to him from Bournemouth? You know, Later on,
Yes,
we figured out that he was like number 25 on a list for United, and they just linked him to us, and there was rumors about it. So United are gonna be linked to many people, and it does not mean a thing. So just take it with a pinch of salt and don't think too much about it.
Well, just quickly, Abdul, before I move on, just talking about the young wingers that we have in the team.
Yeah.
You know, we spoke earlier about how Sancho will come in and he'll be sort of a traditional winger that United are missing.
Yeah.
Now, from what I've seen, I could be wrong here, but I think a lot of these up-and-coming wingers are going to be this sort of mould of chance creators rather than goal scorers. So does that fill you with a bit of optimism that, you know, we're looking at a sustained sort of style of play?
Yeah, because like I'm writing an article on our quote unquote style of play, you know, because it's the thing that people talk about all the time. And we're a very direct team, and but what I mean by that, because people understand direct play, direct football in two ways. You either are just a long ball team, a team that try to bypass the whole 11 by just hoofing it long to a striker and then you're in, or you're a team that just attacks very quickly. Like you use the transition to kill teams off, and transition is not equal counterattack. It's different. Counterattack starts from your own box, from a very deep position where the opponent has the ball and you win it off, and they're so outnumbered when you're on the attack. But we're a transition direct play team. So basically, if you can win the ball as high up as you can, and then just use this organization and penetrate quickly, that would be good. But obviously, because we're now in the modern game, teams that are like Crystal Palace or Burnley or whoever, like any small team, they all deploy that deep block thing, you know, because they know they can't take on teams that are big as Man City or a Man United or a Liverpool. So now you have to be position based. You have to be. It's not even like you can't bypass it basically. And for that, you need creativity from different places. Like right now, why we lost the Villarreal game is basically because, like, one of the reasons, not the only reason, but one of the major reasons is because we have a non-existent right wing. They simply said, we'll shut you off in all angles on your left-hand side because we know that this is where you're very good, and that's it. United can hurt us. And they did that effectively. Now, they weren't super at it. We were also bad on the day. But because there is no threat coming from the right-hand side, they didn't have to worry about it as much. They left Aaron Wan-Bissaka with acres of space. We just couldn't switch it quick enough to him to make some sort of damage. So having a creator from the right-hand side changes the game completely, especially when you're coming up against those annoying matches where you have to break down West Brom or break down a Burnley 4-4-2 or break down, I don't know, a Fulham 5-4-1, you know, something like it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, well, that's something to be optimistic about, I suppose. So yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
That's something to look forward to. I'll come to you next, Benny. We'll talk about these young wingers. So just going back to them, you know, are there people in there that you want to see loaned out or given a chance in the first team, or perhaps you think they're not quite up to the scratch, so you want them sold permanently?
It's going to be interesting, mate. I don't think Chong's done enough for me. I think he's probably going to be on the sole transfer list or maybe loan back out again. Palestri, I'll give him another loan out. Ahmed, I might just keep him around for the first maybe 6 months of the season. Well, the first half of the season. And then if he's not getting too much game time, maybe loan him out in January. The interesting thing is going to be Dan James for me. What happens to Dan James? Because if Pogba stays, we've got Pogba and Rashford that and possibly Martial, if he stays as well, that could possibly fill a void out on the left-hand side. You don't have to worry about the left-hand side too much. And on the right, if we do bring in Jadon Sancho, and we've got your likes of Ahmed still around, your Mason Greenwood could drop there on the right-hand side as well. It's going to be interesting to see what happens to Dan James. Listen, I like the kid, but I think he could do with it at least a loan move out for a whole season somewhere that he can play football week in, week out and get his confidence up and get back into his stride as well. Because I think it's constant of him playing a game and maybe not playing the next 5 or 6 is not doing him any good, I don't think. It's very disruptive to his game. We all know that he's got pace and he's got they could power beyond full-backs and that with that pace of his. But I like to see him develop his game a little bit more. Now, whether we send him out on loan or whether we sell him, that's the big question, But I would favour him if we went, gave him a loan move somewhere in the Premier League. I don't know, maybe a West Ham maybe would be, or an Everton or someone around that sort of mid-table, looking to push it a top 6 side maybe. If there could be a possible deal on there. I don't want to see the kid drop down to the Championship because, with all due respect, that's where we got him from. I wanted to see him tested week in, week out. If we get him a team, even at Brentford, because they play some really good football. Brentford, even if you took him to Brentford and said, "Can you give the kid a bit of a chance, for a season?" I'd be open to that because I don't know. Someone said there if we use Dan James as a swap for Rafinha, yeah, could do. But I think Leeds want to keep all that Rafinha by the sounds of it. But football's a funny old game, isn't it? You never know what happens. But and in terms of Mason Greenwood, I think he's going to challenge. I think they're going to put him up with Cavani. Load off Cavani is out and out number 9. I know Stuart doesn't like. Stuart should probably come in the comments saying Greenwood ain't an out and out number 9 yet. But I think they'll probably use this time now to give Greenwood the opportunity to go and learn off Cavani. To just shadow Cavani for a season. Watch what he does in training. Not that he hasn't done already, but I think it's going to be like you fully concentrate on that position this season. And if we need you to drop into the right midfield position, we give Sancho a rest if Sancho comes in or somebody gets injured, fair play. But I think now it's going to be full on concentration. You nail down that place now. There's a chance for you to nail down this place next couple of seasons. Because obviously Cavani's not going to be around for a long time. He's going to probably be around for one more season, then maybe go back to America and have a final swan song in South America or whatever. But it's going to be interesting because it, again, depends if you bring another striker in. So everything is a ifs or buts with it. Questions upon questions. Here we go. I knew Stuart would be in there somewhere. But yeah, it just every time you think you've got an answer, it always begs another question. Though you think, oh, but what happens to this? So it's going to be a very interesting summer, mate. It depends all on who we bring in, and then who we're likely to go out. I mean, anyway, that looks at the going out list today. It's just there's the names you expected, really. But I'm quite surprised that Lee Grant's on that list, saying that we're trying to get him a new contract. Whether that's because we're selling one of our number, either De Gea or Dean Henderson in the summer. I don't know, with Heaton coming in, or they're trying to get him part of the coaching staff. I don't know, man, because that's a strange one for me. I was expecting to see Lee Grant's name on there as well, but we shall see, mate. As I said, there's other questions. That's the problem, but yeah, I don't think it'll stump people. I just think we need to be clever and make sure we're not stunting people's growth by keeping them in a team when they're probably not going to get the chances. I think if we need to send somebody out on loan, send them out on loan. Let them get game time and let them get valuable experience. Because last thing you want to do is let a youngster rot in the under 23s. Under 23 football is crap, man. Especially if you're too good. Armour's too good for under 23 football. It's only a certain level. You're not playing against men week in, week out. We need to make sure we get these youngsters playing competitive men's football as quickly as we possibly can. Give them a bit of a chance, and see what they've got. Because the under 23s can only tell you so much, unfortunately. But that's where I'm at with it all.
Yeah, I think you make some really interesting points there. There's a lot of them as well. The one I picked out was Dan James in particular. I'll come to you, Sal, just to round us off with this. What are your thoughts on Dan James? Do you want to see him given more of a chance in the first team, or do you think he needs a loan, or do you think his time at United's up?
I mean, I agree with Ben. He does need a loan. The problem I have with Daniel James is he's technically not a great player. He's got fantastic pace, got a good shot on him, but teams know how to play against him. They just play the low block, and it's like he's running into walls because he just runs straight, or he'll cut in. We need someone with a little bit more guile in that position. Obviously, Martial there is. I don't know what's the situation with Martial. I mean, it looks like the road could be ending for him. I don't know. I've heard rumours he might be on the way. James, I would look to loan him as well. I feel like there's a few of our players that needed a loan, even back when McTominay made his debut. I felt like he needed a loan, and it cannot be underestimated how good these loans are for these players. I mean, you just need to ask David Beckham when he went to Preston how much he improved going on loan. And I feel like some players do need that loan. They do need strengthening up. And Daniel James at the moment, I feel like he's missing something. I don't think he's quite got that quality. I feel like we've got a mixed bag of players in our team that some are really, good. Some are just not quite at that quality that Manchester United need, especially if you want to challenge Manchester City. I mean, one thing that did come out of the final was Harry Maguire. I mean, how much we missed him and how important he is to the team. I think a lot of people realise that now because there were a lot of doubts about him early in the season. And when he signed that, he wasn't good enough, but I feel like we really missed him. And we do need another centre-back, as I keep stressing. I sound like a broken record with this, and a CDM. Because it's no point having the best strikers in the world. You're just putting a golden vase on a derelict chest of drawers. You need the basis of a defense. To bring the ball out. We need good CDMs, at least one good CDM, because we've got two CDMs doing one job at the moment. Well, two box-to-box players, as you like, whatever you like. Feel like Daniel James, but bringing it back to Daniel James, I just think, in my opinion, he's not got a quality yet, and I do think he needs to go on loan. I like him as a person, as a player, but he reminds me of a championship type player, get the ball to him, run at the defender, no goal, no continental style football that he can offer to the team. I want him to do well, but I just don't think, when you look at Manchester City and the pool of players they've got and the players they're letting go, we need far better to challenge, because we're streaks behind at the moment, and with especially with the other teams next season improving, Liverpool going to improve, Chelsea are going to improve, Arsenal are going to improve, Chelsea are going to improve. It's going to be difficult, and we need to really be serious this summer, and ruthless as well, because I don't think we're quite ruthless enough. Mata getting a new contract. I love Juan Mata. He's a fantastic person. Don't get me wrong. Brilliant person. Met the guy, great person, but is his time over at United now? Are we becoming too nostalgic? Are we becoming too sentimental with certain players? I mean, Alex Ferguson let some of our legends go. You've got to be ruthless in this game. We need to show the league that we mean business, and keeping Mata on for another season, what for? I mean, for me, his pace died about 3 years ago. He's not the same player as he was anymore. And you need pace in the Premier League. And I don't think he's going to offer that. We need good backup players. I'd rather play a reserve. I'd rather have an Elanga on the bench than a Mata, for example, because at the end of the day, we're just, it's insanity just doing the same thing time and time again, season after season. We need to move on. We need to be ruthless, in my opinion.
Yeah, fair enough. Can't help but agree. Well, just to round us off on the Sancho talk, then I'll ask everyone the same question. I'll come around each of you. There's, the big thing of last summer was that Ollie didn't get his prime targets, and that was sort of used to help him in his sort of Ollie out versus Ollie in debates. So if Sancho does come in and say another one of Ollie's top targets, does that impact your expectations for him and for United this season? And do you think that will impact sort of what will keep him in a job at the end of this season? I'll come to you first, Alexi.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if Ollie gets Sancho, Rice and Varane and Trippier, for example, then he should be expected to do very big things. And I think, obviously, people know I'm a big supporter of Ollie, but I obviously would hold him to the standards everyone else does. If he gets those players in, I would really expect us to challenge properly in the league and the Champions League. I think the reason why, the reason why I've not been too harsh on him for the last season was I kind of thought, I know I'm not saying second is a trophy or anything like that. I'm not saying it's this amazing thing, but ultimately we came second in a season where, he didn't really get any first 11 players in the window. And our summer last year was not a summer that's going to catch us up to City. It was a good summer in the sense we got a bit of depth. Cavani's obviously been amazing, but Ollie needs the big backing, and we can I think my thing has always been, let's properly judge Ollie when he has a team that's all his. If he has a team that's all his and it goes well, we're laughing. If he has a team that's all his and it doesn't go well, then yeah, he deserves a lot of criticism. But at the moment, it's still, because he's only signed about 6-7 players. I might be wrong, but around that number of players so far. It's hard to make a judgment on him when that team isn't fully his, especially when you look at Pep Guardiola, who has basically bought a new squad. So it makes it quite kind of easy for him to succeed. So yeah, if Ollie gets Sancho, Varane and Rice and Trippier, we should be challenging for the league and we should be winning trophies. But I hate to be pessimistic. I hope I'm wrong, but for me, the likelihood of the Glazers and Woodward and Murtaugh, all those people going out and buying all those players, that just seems just impossible to me. But obviously, I hope I am wrong.
Yeah, fair enough. Wes, same to you.
Yeah, just echo what Alexi said. Really, is that if United do go out this season and we do sign these 4 players, the names that are being thrown about, you're obviously your Sancho's, your Rice, your Varane, then there should be a level of expectation. But I'm a massive fan of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I have been from the start. I believe in him. I do believe that there is a process that we have to go through first before we start lifting trophies and competing. And I think that football's a results-based game anyway. This past season that's just gone, it's progression. The league table will tell you that. But obviously, I do think that if we do spend this summer, the expectation will be to achieve more. And achieving more than second will mean possibly, winning the league if you make these signings. I do believe he has to deliver a trophy next season because, it's not so much that the board are going to be putting pressure on him because, they've openly said that, they trust him and that they're going to back him and they're probably going to put a contract on the table for him. But I think that it's just the belief in fans. I was in Gdansk for the final. I was at the game. And I was talking to a few fellow United fans there who are also Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, but it just casts that little bit of doubt in your mind when you see a performance like that in a cup final. Arguably the biggest game of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's managerial career at Manchester United, and we turn out a performance like that. And as we've previously mentioned, it's not entirely his team, but you look at that team 1 to 11, and we've arguably got the best team aside City and Liverpool, obviously, in the league. And we've beaten City this season. We beat obviously Liverpool in the FA Cup as well. But it just casts that little bit of doubt. I do believe there will be a little bit of pressure on him next season, but we'll have to wait and see. I think a trophy next season is pivotal.
Yeah, I have been harsh on Ollie lately, to be honest, because there are things that he can improve even without having all the players per se that he needs. Like for example, like our build up, like the 3 most important phases in football, which is the build up, the progression, and the creation phases, right? And some of these things, there are issues in them and they haven't been addressed throughout the entire season. And yes, we have Fred as a deep midfielder, we have Scott, sometimes we have Matic. You can put Pogba and it will improve things a little bit. But there are certain things that you can do to make the framework a little bit better, to make it easier for someone like Fred um, to play out from the back. And I'm not saying he's going to improve his passing abilities all of a sudden. You can't do that. But if you put him in a certain framework that makes the choices for him easier, that would not put Fred in situations where he's so pressured he loses the ball and cost us goals or something like that. Same thing for Scott. So these are like the little nitty gritty things that I criticized Ollie for, you know, but at the same time, I understand that also players understand the players that they're playing with. So for example, if you guys notice, if Fred has the ball or Scott has the ball, no one makes runs because they have doubts over their ability to deliver or thread a ball between two lines. You know, but if Bruno has the ball, they all start moving. It's Cavani or Rashford or Martial or whoever. Shaw the same thing. Pogba the same thing. So yes, I know these things affect these things matter. It plays on like it's not a black and white thing. So I was a little bit harsh on Ollie in certain things that he could have improved slightly. But at the end of the day, yes, as we just said, the team that we have, I classify it as on its best day, the fourth best team in the league. And yeah, on their best day, Liverpool is better, City they're better, and Chelsea has a much better squad. But and on our best day, we're the fourth best. We're better than Tottenham, even though Tottenham have a deeper squad, but the quality, I would say, is on par. We're better. Arsenal are Arsenal, so we don't need to even to put them in the equation. But if so, I'm not judging him on whether he won the league or won a trophy. I was judging him on just the things that are on the field. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like, oh, Ollie haven't won a trophy, so he needs to go by. No, it was kind of like, we need to improve this. Why is he not improving that? We need to improve this. Why is he not improving that? And the saving grace for all of this is that the club was in such a shambles that it's really tough to be tough on Ollie. You know, you want to be tough, you want to criticize, you want to analyze, you want to do all these things, but it's tough when the club, everything in it needs fixing, not just on the field, structurally, technically, managerially, everything, even owners. So it's tough, and you don't know where is it gonna come from. Like, as in, okay, if you get rid of Ollie, you think anyone is gonna come and deal with the same things? I think what's helping Ollie is his love for the club. What's really helping him progress is how much he cares for this club and how much he wants it to succeed. If you bring in a Mourinho or a Conte or something like that, at the first sign of trouble, it's like, fuck this. Why should I care? I don't care about United that much to ruin my reputation. You know, he'll try. I'm not saying he'll try. Their pride as professionals will make them try. But if he has hurdles everywhere, do you think they're gonna put that much of effort to fix United? They don't really care. They just want their players to win a trophy and leave. Bye. So that's the thing that makes me stick with Ollie, that makes me want him to succeed, other than my personal love for him as a player and what he did for the club. But yeah, once he get these players, once he get the team that he has, we should see just at least competition. So we're competing with City, you know, to win the title. We're 3 points off them or 2 points off them. Last day, who's gonna win it, kind of thing. You know what I mean? As long as we're competing and we're up there, then no one can really tell him anything. If we miss the title by a point, he competed. You know, he got the players. We're playing good football. We're competing. So no one can say, oh, he hasn't won the league, so he should leave. No, he competed for the league. So it's not a black and white thing. That's, at least this is how I see it.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. We've lost a few guests because they've had other things they've had to go and do, prior engagements. But I think we'll just move on to the Trippier stuff, if that's all right with you, Benny. I think we've got to cover that as well. You know, the reports coming out that's moving fairly quickly. I think Murto's had a few discussions over in Madrid recently. So I'll come to you first, Benny. Are you excited by the prospect of this signing, or do you think our priority should really be somewhere else?
It'd be a decent cover for Aaron Wan-Bissaka, I think. You know, especially Wan-Bissaka's played so many games last season. And listen, we need like at least 2 really decent players at every position. You know, especially challenging in all the competitions. We need a stronger strength in depth, and Trippier would be a good shout, I suppose. You know, my only worry is it really a foregone thing? Because I've heard from other reports that it's actually full of shit, and he's just trying to get a new contract from Atletico Madrid. He's using United's name. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But I've heard from people that know his family that are saying that. And I know that I think Trippier's a United fan as well, to be fair. And I think I've been told that his family have boxes at Old Trafford as well. But I've also been told by somebody that I know that knows his family saying that he's just using it to get another contract out of Atletico Madrid. So we shall see, I suppose. We shall see, because somebody's right, somebody's wrong, you know. And this is what it all boils down to for me. It's like, you know, this is what I don't like about transfer talk. It could, you know, one person says one thing, another person says something else. And it's just a muddle, really. But until if he's there, signed, still delivered, holding the shirt up, I think he'll be a decent cover. And actually, you could see what happened in terms of Wan-Bissaka's performance is really upping, like he did with Luke Shaw with Telles coming in. But it'd be an interesting one because Trippier won't come in to be second choice. You know, it'd be pushing to be first choice in that, and because it's still going to be because obviously next summer you got the World Cup, isn't it? World Cup in 2022, pretty sure it is, isn't it? So you're going to have a really good battle between them two. I think Brandon Williams are probably could do with a loan as well, to be fair. You know, looking at right backs, Brandon Williams, Ethan Laird. I saw a comment earlier on about Ethan Laird saying about his injuries. MK Dons are really impressed with him. I'd loan him back to MK Dons for another season. And if he can have a season where he's not, where he can keep himself fully fit and he's looking the real deal, he could be somebody that could be brought back in for the future years to challenge Wan-Bissaka, because I don't know how Trippier is. Somebody may be able to tell me. I'm not 100% sure how old he is, but
I think he's 30.
He's 30, yeah. So you're only going to get 3 or 4 good seasons out of him. So if that, you know, so the door's not completely shut on Ethan Laird and Brandon Williams, but I think they both need to go back out on loan, prove what they could do, get some football under the belt, and learn the game. I'm not against the Trippier signing. I think it's a really good one, that one, to be fair, as coming from Wan-Bissaka. And I think it'll push Aaron Wan-Bissaka's performances up. And you'll probably see Wan-Bissaka in the final third become a little bit like Luke Shaw this season. His final third, he's all of a sudden, he's putting the decent balls into the box. He's looking menacing in the final third, you know, getting into them positions, whipping into a decent cross or a decent pass into the box. Something that was level at Luke Shaw quite a lot, you know, in previous seasons. But Shaw's sort of really upped his levels with Telles coming in. So I'm not against it. I think somewhere it could cost us about 10 million. That's not too bad, really, is it? For Kieran Trippier, 10 million. If that's the actual cost, I'm not against it, mate. But I'll give the lad a chance. You know, we need that strength in depth, and at right back, it's probably without Wan-Bissaka, we are a little bit lost there. I think Brandon and Ethan Laird both need proper low moves out, and then I don't like seeing centre halves come into right back because they always get their feet in a muddle, you know. So I think we need a proper right back in, and if that is going to be Trippier, then I'm for it, mate. I'm just hoping it's not all, you know, smoke so he can get another contract out of Atletico. So, but we shall see.
Yeah, I'm quite excited by the possibility of it. But I'll hand it over to you, Abdul. You know, do you like the idea of Kieran Trippier coming in? And if not, is there a better option that you think could offer backup?
I like the idea of a backup. That's for sure. He wouldn't be my first choice for sure, but he's not a bad choice if you want him for a couple of years. And I mean, yes, Trippier would want to play for sure, but United played the most games out of any team in Europe and since lockdown came back, since June of last year. So we need backups. Like I'm actually surprised Aaron Wan-Bissaka did not get injured so far because he played the most minutes out of the entire 11, even more than Harry Maguire. And it's actually crazy, like because he needs to rest. So let's say what last season, this season we played on average 61, 62 games. If Trippier, I think would be happy with like 30 something games, right? Half the games between him and Aaron Wan-Bissaka or something like that. So he's 30. It depends on how long they're gonna give him the contract for. Like how long does he want to continue playing as well. So all these will play into it. But Aaron Wan-Bissaka is young. He's 22. So let's say Trippier stay with us 3 years. Aaron Wan-Bissaka will be 25, just entering his prime. So yeah, I don't think it will have the same effect though as Shaw, because Shaw did have the ability. Like he did have the deliveries, he did have all that. He just wasn't doing it. I don't know, was it a mental thing? Was he scared? Was something with him not confident at all in that he can do it? But Aaron Bissaka still does not actually have that quality. He needs to improve it, like work on it himself. So it won't be like the same thing happen, like the same with Shaw. Like Trippier came in, all of a sudden Aaron Bissaka just boomed, and a flying fullback. It will take a lot more time for Aaron Bissaka to actually progress and improve to be an attacking fullback, even if Trippier does come. But it will give you an option to rest Aaron Wan-Bissaka for big games, for games against teams that you want a solid defensive fullback. It will give you an option when you playing a West Brom at home and they're defending with like all 11 men in their own box. Now you have one more creator in Trippier. So you have Sancho, you have Trippier, you have Bruno, you have Pogba. Now, now no matter what they do, there is danger in every single section on the field. So they can't stop United as easily as before. So it's definitely a very good thing that we were looking at a different type of fullback to be a backup for Aaron Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll come to you, Sal. It's good to have you. Good to have you back.
Yeah.
Just on the discussion of Kieran Trippier, what are your thoughts on him coming in? And do you think it should be our priority, or do you think we should really be focusing on other areas of the pitch?
Yeah, the priority is the key word, isn't it? It's exactly what I was saying earlier. Our priority shouldn't be right back. It should be later on in the transfer window. Right now, we should be concentrating on getting the main transfers done. I don't know why we're so desperate to get a right back right now. We've got Daniel Williams, of course, can play there as well. I feel like the CDM position, right wing and centre back positions need to be focused on because those are our weak points. And I think we're wasting time. And this is deja vu every single season. Concentrating on the wrong targets. We've been crying out for a right winger for how long now? Years we've been crying out for a right winger. A centre back to partner Maguire is a must as well. I ain't against Trippier. I think he's a good player. I don't think he's the best right back in England, but I think he's a good player. But he's not going to make a world of difference to our team. And we need players who are going to make a world of difference to our team because we're 10 points, 15 points behind Manchester City. Other teams are going to improve as well. So I would be concentrating on the right wing, the CDM, and the centre-back positions, which are essential for next season because the middle, especially the midfield right now is, it's non-existent in the creative side of things. They can't pass forward. It's side to side. And there's no point getting Trippier in there. It's just we're a little bit confused of what we want, because we're jumping from one player to the next player to the next player. We're just going for Trippier because Trippier's available. That's it. And Trippier is not a world beater. He hasn't set the world alight at Atletico Madrid. It was a substitute for a lot of the time. And, I don't think we need a right back right now. If we get our targets in, the main targets, yeah, then okay, we can bring in a Trippier. That would be, okay. But we need more than, just makeshift players who, squad players. We need firstly sort out our first team, then we can move on to the squad players, in my opinion.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, we are coming up to an hour, so we'll end it on this question to you, Benny. I think a forgotten man in this Trippier scenario. We're talking about Ethan Laird, we're talking about Brandon Williams, but if Kieran Trippier does come in, what does that mean for Dalot's career at Manchester United? Do you think he leaves? And if so, do you want to see him leave? Or do you think he's sort of been unfairly pushed out? Oh, can't hear you. Sorry,
I didn't realise it was a me. I think his days are done, mate. At United, I think Milan want him for another season on loan with an option to sign him the season after. I'm not sure how true that is, but I think he's done, mate. I think he's good as done. I don't think he was really all that good at Milan. He didn't really perform all that well against us, did he, when he played in the Europa? So I think his time's done. As I said, if Trippier was to come in, I think his time's definitely done. I think, and then as I said before, Brandon Williams out on loan for a whole season. Get that kid some proper game time under his belt. Let him improve. Let him learn the game. And then, as I said, with that, he just brings him experience. I think Brandon was top when he first came in season before last. Looked a bit of a deal. Looked like he outdid Luke Shaw quite a lot, but I do think he definitely needs a loan move to further his career. I don't want to see him in and out the team as he has been this season and playing mostly for the 23s. Like I said earlier, there's only so much you can learn from the 23s. I think he needs to be out on loan this season. Ethan Laird, as I said before, like a few minutes ago, somebody did say about his injuries. I know MK Don's really impressed with him. Probably another season out on loan with MK Don's since he's well in there. The manager loves him. The fans love him. Give him another season there, maybe. See how he progresses. But Dalot, mate, I think his time's done. Especially if you're looking at someone like Trippier coming in. He didn't impress me when I watched him playing against us for AC Milan in the Europa, and I don't think he hardly set the world alight there at AC Milan either. So, yeah, I think he's done, mate. Unfortunately, there's no point keeping players for. I think as Sal said earlier on, for sentiment. I think just listen, if he's not being good enough, and you've had to loan that guy out, he's been here for a few seasons now, and it's time to Oh yeah, Ethan Laird, if he goes to the Championship side, fair enough. But I'm just saying to keep it familiar. But yeah, fair enough. We shall see.
Yeah, we shall. I think this under-21 Championship final will be very important from a United point of view as well as to whether Laird stays or not. But unfortunately, I think that is all the time all that we've got time for. I'll bring a comment up here saying, is it worth mentioning the Joel Glazer and the fan forum today? Obviously, it is massive news, but I think it's something we'll be covering on Sunday on Wall of Red, so make sure you tune into that because I think that'll be a very good discussion. But on that note, I think we'll call it a day there. So I hope my first episode of presenting has been bearable to everyone watching. Massive thank you to you boys on the panel for helping me out, and a massive thank you to everyone for tuning in. Like I said, be sure to tune in on Sunday. We'll have another episode of Wall of Reds. But yeah, make sure you like and subscribe as well if you did enjoy the video. But until next time, we'll see you later.